you're now listening to Hello China at 103.2 Dublin City FM. The program is co-hosted by UCD Confucius Institute for Ireland. I'm Xinyu. I've been in Ireland for around 3 years and a half. I've met loads of different people here during this time period. Every person is different and they all have their own stories. We shared our stories and listened to others. Among them, I found myself particularly interested in and moved by stories of the Asian Western couples. Don't get me wrong, I've been interested because there are some interesting stories in there which I might never come across myself in my life. Also, I was moved because usually compared with others, those couples have come across more challenges and worked harder to get together. So, I always want to do a program related to this. Today, my wish has come true thanks to Alice, John, Adam, Edward, and Lufei. They're with me now. Hi, everyone. How are you today? Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hello. Do you want to say hello to our listeners? And also, you can introduce yourself a bit. Why don't we start with Alice?
Hi, my name is Alice. I have been in Ireland for nearly 13 years. I got married to John for more than 4 years, and we have a son already. His name is Adam. He's here with us. He's like behaving, kind of.
Yeah. And also John.
Hi, listeners. My name is John. I've been in Dublin now for over 30 years. I married Alice, as she said, about 4 years ago. I work in the financial services sector. So, hello, guys.
Hello. Adam, do you want to say something to our listeners?
Say hi, Adam.
Hi.
Oh, he's so sweet. Do you want to say anything else?
你好.
Meow.
Lovely. Well, Edward.
Hi, I'm Ed. I'm 34 years old. I'm from Dublin all my life. I met Lufei 8 years ago in the halfway house in Navan Road. She brought me drinks.
Wow.
And in 2 weeks' time we'll be married.
That's so cool. And Lufei, do you want to say something?
Hello, everyone. My name is Lufei, and from China, Shenyang. I've been in Ireland for nearly 10 years, and I did 3 years college in Ireland, and now I'm working in Deloitte too as auditors.
Thanks, everyone. Well, for me, I think the most interesting part is how do the two totally different people meet and fall in love. John, I know you've been to China. Did you meet Alice there in China?
No, actually, I had been away traveling with my last company in the States, and I came back to meet my friends. We went out partying, and it was there that I met Alice, who was actually out with the people that she was staying with and some of her college friends. And really, it all started by, buying her a drink, trying to get to meet her, and I guess that was the start of it.
Wow. So you kept in touch ever since?
Yeah, well, I guess it was certainly hard work at the start because very different cultures, and I found her very very attractive. But it's really trying to break into, I guess, the Chinese culture, for a better word. It takes a little bit of work, certainly as a Westerner, and I guess for Alice as well, the sort of comfort factor with that. It takes a little bit of time to become comfortable with that.
Yeah, true. Well, this was very romantic. What about you, Edward?
Well, I met Lufei in the halfway house in Navan Road. We went on a few dates. Didn't really work out at first because probably the culture is different. I didn't exactly know what to say to her, how to talk to her. Mm-hmm. And we went our kind of separate ways back then, but then it came back together a couple of years later, and we've been getting on great since.
Wow, so sweet. And I know that you'll get married within 2 weeks. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish I could come across with someone that way. Well, I know that in any relationship, the most important part is to get to know the other people, to learn about him. Being born in two totally different countries, China and Ireland, you have loads of difference in habits, traditions, and values because of different cultures. So do you have any interesting stories to share with our listeners? There must be many. Edward, do you have any?
I could talk forever on them.
Yeah, true.
But where do I start to pick a good one up? The first time I went to China,
yeah,
I went to Xinjiang to Lufei's mother's apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and Lufei had to go off on a school reunion for a day,
Mm-hmm.
and left myself and her mother alone in the apartment for the whole day. Now,
Wow, that was a challenge.
well, I've no Chinese and she's no English,
Yeah,
but by 6 in the evening when Lufei came home,
yeah.
she found herself and my mother just talking to each other, her in Chinese, me in English, and understanding exactly what we were saying. And
That
it was
was so funny.
unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. How did you actually communicate? I didn't understand.
It was a bit through body language and just talking.
Yeah.
I don't know how it worked.
So you were having fun.
It was good fun, yeah.
Yeah, true. Well, John, do you have any interesting stories to share?
Yeah, so I guess like Edward actually, my mother-in-law would have come to Ireland obviously to visit, and the whole communication thing was certainly something that would have worried me as well. Now, like Edward, I guess I found it kind of works differently to how you expect, in the sense that my mother-in-law has really no English, and my Chinese would be probably 2 years
Yeah.
behind my son.
Yeah.
But sign language works well, by being able to sort of, I guess, point to things, being able to really facial expressions as well. It kind of works that way. And I think if you look happy, people are happy. If you look sad, people are sad.
Yeah, yeah.
But taking that one step further, I guess my mother-in-law, being the type of person she is, she's very independent. So she wanted to do things like going to get the shopping by herself, being able to get the bus, etc. And she would be able to go, for example, to the local butcher shop, and without any English, she would sort of look at the butcher. He would look at her. She would sort of point at her chest area, at her ribs. By I don't know, sheer magic, the butcher would look at her and say,
Yeah.
ribs, how much? So then she would start looking at the sort of finger and sort of waiting more, less,
Yeah.
until he got it right. So
Wow, that was really magic.
it's sign language.
Right. I was going to ask you actually, because I know, John, you've been to China and Japan, so you must know Asian countries quite well, at least better than your Irish friends, I think. So can you speak any Chinese?
A tiny bit.
Yeah.
So
That was what I want to know, because I was asking, how did you communicate with Alex's mother?
okay, so how I communicate really is, like obviously I would talk to Alice's mother via sort of video conferencing every week, like Skype, etc. So,
Wow.
with Alice helping and a little bit of the sort of translation to and fro, it kind of works. Plus, I guess you start to pick up some of the key words that are used in everyday sort of conversation, both myself and I guess Alice's parents. So you kind of get by. And I think also, one of the differences between Western and Chinese culture is, I think, Chinese people don't necessarily talk as much as Western people. They're more relaxed. They're sitting. They're enjoying. Whereas Western people talk a lot. So it kind of works out.
Yeah, that was very good. Well, Alice, you have lived in Ireland for 30 years, is it?
13.
Yeah. So, to fall in love and marry to Western people, do you have any challenges? Have you met any challenges?
Yeah, I found it's very hard for me to raise Adam, because my mother-in-law, he helps a lot. Otherwise, we couldn't cope. If we were in China, we wouldn't have to worry too much. My parents would have helped, but they are too far away and they need visa to come over, and it's only for 3 months each time.
And Edward, do you have any interesting stories to share, or do you want to say, like, have you met any challenges during this time period?
And I think, first of all, probably I think the cultural difference. You can tell, like, if you're going out with a Chinese boy, they know what exactly they act towards a Chinese girl.
Right.
But then, for example, in China, it's kind of culture like boys will pay for, everything.
Pay for the bit, yeah.
Yeah, because if they bring you out, and they will willing to pay everything, treat you like a princess.
Right,
and then we always think that's the way the boy should be.
And
but
we're
now
enjoying that.
Exactly. We think that's normal.
Yeah.
But we learned when we come here, we feel a little bit different, because I think in West country girls, they are more independent. They probably, because they they earn same salaries here with the man, so everything they share, like we say AA, basically 50-50.
Right.
And then for me, I wasn't feel comfortable with it because that's not where I come from. But then it kind of, even because we live here for a long time, you learn from their culture, and then you understand
get used to
Irish
that.
people, and then you kind of like, you grow up, like, you know, you get new knowledge from Ireland, and then from background from China. But now China is changing as well. The girls more dependent as well.
Right.
So that's probably first thing I feel, that's kind of culture difference. But
so now you'll get used to everything.
Yeah, because we're 6 years together, everything used to,
Yeah, so when you go back to China, do you find, like, is it a bit different in there? Or?
Oh, yeah, I think when I go back to China, I felt that because when people talking something, we don't understand because we kind of left there too long.
The information gap.
Exactly. And then when this is not my story. My friend tell me that story, but I think it's so funny. She went back to China. She tried to get the bus. You know, in Dublin, get bus, you put your hands up.
Yeah.
So the bus will stop.
Yeah, right.
But in China, you don't. The bus just stop for every
bus station.
Yeah. So she put her hands up. And the people just look at her, like, give her dirty look, say, what are you doing? Like, the bus will stop anyway.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm in China now. It's different.
Yeah.
So I think that's something, like, we live here a long time, and we kind of, like, different, the way the Chinese people live.
Yeah, you have to, like, have several days to get used to everything in China now.
Exactly.
Right.
And when I go back to China, people say, you're not Chinese anymore. I said, I'm Chinese. I said, no, you're different. But then when in Ireland, they say, oh, you're Chinese. You're not kind of like, so we kind of like in the middle.
Yeah. I can understand that. Yeah. Well, so about language, because John, you said you can only speak a little bit Chinese, and for Edward.
Well, at the moment, I'm learning Chinese.
Right.
Every Wednesday night in
Buffet.
Harcourt Street. It's Teach Me Mandarin. You find it on internet, www.teachmemandarin.com, I think, or it could be .ie, one or the other.
Yeah.
But I found them by complete accident last September on Facebook, and they were doing a special offer course for a trial unit run for €50 for a 7-week course.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I emailed off and got into the course, and I had an absolutely fantastic time. John, Ying and Chung, is it? They're brilliant doing the course. They teach it very, very well.
Yeah.
And I've started again 3 weeks ago for the April course.
Right.
And that lasts for 8 weeks. Now it's not 50 quid yet, but it's not a trial course anymore, but it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so how do you like Mandarin? Do you think it's easier to start with, or?
It's obviously very difficult, but the Chinese language compared to the English language is much easier than the English language.
Yeah.
Once you understand it.
Right.
Once you understand how it works.
No, Chinese language is the most difficult language in the world.
Shut up.
Well, I'm very curious, like, what language do you speak at home for Alice and John? Because you have Adam, who's 3 years and a half. Do you only speak English to him, or do you speak Mandarin and English both?
And after he was born, I tried to speak Chinese all the time to him, and then he learned very quickly. And but after he went to crash, right, the language is English. Now, like, I have difficulty talking to him in Chinese. Sometimes he asks me, "Mommy, what did you say? What are you saying?
Yeah,
is
so
that
he
Chinese? Can you
couldn't
speak?"
understand.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's easier for me to talk to him in English now. Yeah.
So are you trying to teach him some Chinese?
Yeah.
Right.
All the time. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, that you really, my wife would only ever speak to Adam in Chinese, never in English, whereas I would obviously speak to him in English all of the time.
Yeah.
I think because of the people around him and because of Ireland, everyone is speaking to him in English, so his natural response will always be in English. But that there's nothing he doesn't understand that you could say to him in Chinese, and that's great for obviously when he's interacting with his family back in China.
Right, that's brilliant, because I think for children with this background, if their parents are from 2 different countries, then he could easily learn 2 different languages. So because children when they're very young, and it's easy for them to learn a language, but when they're getting older, like myself, I've learned English for like over 10 years, but it's still difficult for me. Like so, I'm really jealous to be honest.
Well, I think, to be honest, one thing I'm hoping for actually is that they introduce maybe Chinese or Mandarin into the Irish curriculum as a choice at the very least, just because of the amount of trade that takes place between China and obviously European countries, including Ireland. And I think if that is the case, then I'd have no doubt Adam would do very well.
Yeah. I think actually in some secondary schools, they started to learn Mandarin as their elective the 4th years. Because I met some 4th-year girls in transitional years, and they are learning Chinese as their elective. That was pretty amazing, I think.
Wow, that'd be very good.
Yeah. Well, actually, another thing that I'm very curious about is where did you hold the wedding, John? Did you have wedding in both China and Ireland?
Yeah, so how we did it was we got married in Ireland. So the first ceremony was in Ireland, and it was very traditionally Irish with the large wedding party, the whole ceremony, and then the reception afterwards, and a honeymoon. We went to Cuba after that. But then 1 year, exactly 1 year later, when just after Adam was born, we went back to China, and we had effectively like a celebratory party, which was like a wedding party where all of Alice's family and friends from China would have attended. Yeah. So for me, it was amazing, because I think the wedding party was probably 5 times the size of an Irish wedding.
Really?
Really, yes. The traditions were actually very different. Like I found it funny in the sense that you have to go around each of the tables as they're getting ready to eat, and sort of raise or drink a glass of Chinese rice wine. So for me, it's just so strong, and you're going to get really drunk really quickly.
Yeah.
But what I found funny was that you're actually the last table to eat. That by the time you've met and sort of greeted every family, and you sit down, it's already probably 1 hour, 1.5 hours in, and then you finally get to eat.
So you were really hungry at that time.
Really hungry, but it was so much fun. And I think, for me, I was obviously, I was the only sort of Western person there. I was made feel very, very, very welcome, and it was fantastic fun.
Right. Edward, what's your plan for the wedding? Are you going to have a traditional Chinese wedding or a Western wedding?
Oh, that's top secret.
Really?
No, we're having a traditional Irish wedding, but with a bit of Chinese thrown into it.
Right. So, did you just say that you had a pre-wedding party?
Pretty much in China last August. On the 8th of August, we had almost a Chinese wedding. The whole lot, apart from the wedding ceremony itself, we had the party afterwards and that.
Did you enjoy it?
I did, but the day went by very, very fast.
Oh, really?
And I didn't get food, unlike John. John got food. I didn't get any food.
Oh, really? That was so terrible.
We were going to all the tables, and they had lovely food there, and I'm looking going, I want some.
Why did you not have any food at last?
Because by the time we were finished, everybody was going.
And then you should grab some food.
But John had the rice wine. We brought over bottles of Baileys.
All right. You have Baileys.
And that worked much better than the rice wine.
Well, I'll let you into a secret, Edward. One thing I found was that there was just so many tables at the Chinese wedding that I asked my father-in-law to, about halfway in, to sort of change the rice wine to water.
That was brilliant. That was clever. Yeah. And actually, do you mind me asking how many tables are there actually?
I think at our wedding there was probably around 500 people in China. So
500 people?
Yeah. Wow. So it was huge.
Yeah, it was huge, quite huge. Thanks, John and Edward. Best luck with your wedding, Edward and Faye. You're going to be one of the happiest couples in the world. At last, Edward, we'd like to send all our best wishes to your wedding. In China, people would say, 早生贵子，白头偕老. Faye, have you ever taught him about this?
No. If you tell him in Chinese, it's just how to Great Wall. He never get this too difficult for him.
Do you want to do a bit translation?
It means that they we wish you have a child soon, and wish you have a love life together to be a couple forever.
Yeah, this is my wish, and I'll send you my best wishes to you. And Edward, would you like to say something to your lovely fiancée?
Less than 2 weeks to go. Looking forward to it.
say something in Chinese.
Yeah, you have to learn some Chinese.
Why ni Lufei?
Yeah, so sweet. And thanks, John and Alice and your little boy Adam. Thanks, Edward, and wish you all 白头偕老.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, be a happy couple forever. How China wish all the Asian couples happy forever. You probably have been experienced a lot. You probably found that this relationship is indeed more challenging, but that would only make your love more romantic and memorable. Well, we're actually running out of time this week. Now, enjoy a song called I Will Marry You Tomorrow from Jolene and David Tao. Now enjoy it. I will marry you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
春暖的花开，带走冬天的感伤，微风吹来浪漫的气息，每一首情歌忽然充满意义，我就在此刻突然见到你。Take it away。
春暖的花香带走冬天的凄寒，微风吹来意外的爱情，鸟儿的高歌拉近我们距离，我就在此刻突然爱上你。听我说，手牵手，跟我一起走，创造幸福的生活。
Actually, I have a friend, Becky, from Northern Ireland. She's been with her Chinese boyfriend for 3 years. Let's hear from Becky, who joins me on the line. Hi, Becky.
Hello.
I'm so happy you can join us in the show. Would you like to introduce yourself a bit to our listeners?
Yeah, my name's Rebecca, and I come from Northern Ireland. And I just thought I'm very interested in Chinese culture, so I'm very glad. I'm very happy to be on the show and to answer some questions for you.
Sure. Thanks, Becky. So I know you and Tony have been together for 3 years, right?
Yes.
Right. So during this time period, having different cultural background, is there anything you don't understand him do, or put it in another way, is there anything that you two would do in different ways?
There's a couple of things that I've noticed that are different between me and his culture. The most significant one was when I asked him his mother and father's name, he told me that I shouldn't call them by their first name because I am younger, so I didn't really understand that.
Yeah.
And,
Because this is kind of tradition in China, like you don't, it's a bit like implied for you to call their names directly.
Yeah, so just after 3 years, I just call them Baba and Mama.
So sweet.
Yeah, and even though my boyfriend's sister is older than me, but because I am with her older brother, she must say that I'm her little sister, so she just calls me Sajie.
Yeah.
So I think that's really weird that she's older than me. So
Yeah. Right.
And then the language is a big problem. Well, it was at the start because he's not fluent.
Yeah, or he's not fluent English. And
Yeah.
can you speak Chinese?
I can speak a little bit. I've been learning by myself. I was looking for a teacher, but I can't get one.
Right. So, is there anything you like to do, but he doesn't like you to do?
Well, that's another cultural difference, really, because Irish people, like, if there's a wedding or anything, they usually have alcohol. So, yeah. He doesn't really like me to go out and drink.
For party, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Irish people like to go out and party a lot, like.
Yeah, exactly. Every week, like Thursday and Friday and Saturday.
The Chinese people in Ireland are very hard working, so he's always at home and working. So I sometimes have free time to go out, and I just want to go out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he works a lot. So.
And here's another question. I want to know, like, how do you get on with his Chinese friends? Can you communicate, because you said you only can speak a little bit Chinese, so I'm very curious. How do you communicate with them?
How do I communicate?
Yeah.
Well, when his friends are there, they don't really communicate with me. They find it quite difficult to talk to me.
Okay.
But I work in the Chinese takeaway, so I just pick up a little bit. Anything I need to say, I will say it. But usually we don't really talk. But when I'm with my friends, Tony, I always try to explain to him what I'm saying simply.
Right, so sweet. Yeah, but can his friends speak English? I mean,
no.
We two can communicate. No.
No,
right.
they don't
That's
speak
a big
English.
thing.
They actually don't speak Mandarin Chinese. They speak Fujian. So I have been trying to learn Mandarin and a little bit of Cantonese, but then they speak Fujian, and then I get totally confused. And
right. Yeah, this is interesting.
There's no point in me learning anything because they just don't understand anyway.
Yeah. And another big thing to all Chinese people, because some parents, tend to intervene in a relationship or a marriage. Have you got any barrier from his parents, if you don't mind me asking?
I've never seen his parents because they're in China and he's over here. But we did talk on the computer,
right.
you two. And
so you two communicate in English?
No, Chinese.
Chinese, all right.
I use Google Translate, and it shows you how to read in Pinyin.
Oh, right, so. Very clever.
So I just do that, and no, I have no problems with them. They actually really like me. every time they talk, they'll be like, his mother is like, Becky, we all hate it, and I'm like, no, I don't want to be a bit. And the main problem was actually my family. There was no problem from his family at all,
All right, yeah. So
my brothers were trying to fight with him a couple of times.
Right. So, Becky, is there anything you want to say to Tony online?
In Chinese or English?
Whatever.
Just that I know he's really hardworking and I appreciate everything he does, and I love him and I miss him very much.
Thanks, Becky. That's all for Hello China today. I hope you enjoyed our show. I'm Xinyu, your presenter. I'll see you next week. Bye.